flashes from the flash and dash of Zachary and Baby Bay together, and I'm pretty sure 100 Thieves will be ready for this.
Revealing area.
Blocking sight.
So right now we do have some sort of a setup default for FaZe. We talked about aggressive for them on the attacker side, but we didn't see that early flash and dash. They're working off the owl drone, but it's going to be awesome that it pushes out towards the showers and catches Zachary off guard, but did not notice that Marv was just around the corner at showers. Now being picked up, the spike has been planted, and Marv is going to try to come in towards that showers. Thing is though, right now for 100 Thieves, they have a double flank from the Cypher, which is going to be Steel, of course, and Ethan just from behind. Spike is now taken down as Marv is trying to play that pulse plant for the team. It all comes down to, once again, Hiko. If he could clutch this time a 3 versus 1 against 2 players that's been popping off, and that's Corey and also Baby Bay, but it doesn't work out. Corey gets the kill. First round comes in for FaZe in that pistol. And mind you, if you just tuned in now, we do have a 2-0 scoreline in the best set of 5. So the question is, what happens there? FaZe, because they come in from the upper bracket finals, they do have 1 map in hand in this series, while now it's 2-0. So 100 Thieves from this point on has to win every single map. The next 2 coming potentially being Bind right now and Haven to try to bring this to a last and final map of Ascent. So great pistol round being held here. Now it's going to be, we're going to see a split towards this hookah side. So instead of having that flash, actually Zachary's going to try to flash in for Corey to try to get in control of hookah. Meanwhile though, for 100 Thieves, they tried to play aggressively towards this short A, where it was stopped by Marv lurking from behind. Marv now does get a kill from a lurk at Steel, and that push in from that teleporter. They tried to go for that paranoia a little bit too late to try to capitalize on a hit towards the sands. And unfortunately, it doesn't pay off, and Nitro just jumps in. He's like, you know what? I'm throwing the towel. We have a 5-on-1 now as Hiko once again in a clutch situation with only a classic. Good for 1 at least. That's okay. The pinch in that we see usually that Envy likes to do as well on this map through that teleporter did not pay off when they get the early information that there was nobody playing towards that short A for FaZe, allows for them to push back into sands and get those picks. This means now we have a bonus round for FaZe, and for 100 Thieves, it's going to be a full AR round, of course, on the defense. 2-0 on the scoreline, and with this bonus, there's a potential that you just want to go aggressive into short A, because look where Baby Bay's at. Look where Corey's at. I wouldn't be surprised of a double satchel from the flash of some Zachary to get into the site. He's even going to fault line across for showers so that Marv could take control of showers too, and they're going to have an aggressive split towards this A side. But this is a good boom bot on the ground here from Asuna. Clears out the angle, gets some information that there's at least somebody there, but there is that push coming in. So we have off the owl drone 3 players moving in from hookah inside for FaZe, and they already flank behind towards that spawn. So Baby Bay is at the point. There's that first, but still gets the wide swing. Immediately gets traded out as they are pushing in for FaZe. But now 100 Thieves has the 1-minute advantage. Asuna waiting for the spike to plant. He's waiting for the push through the smoke. It's Raucous. Gets punished for it. Only a 4-on-1 remaining with Zachary. A self-flash, a first headshot with the Spectre. Picks up the Vandal at 30 HP. But they are closing in on him. You have the shock darts, the peek from Hiko at Heaven, and 100 Thieves puts the first point on the scoreboard. Now at least they have 2 players, or 3 players that were still alive here for 100 Thieves, which allows them to get at least maybe a small buy for one of the players. Nitro has enough to drop one for Steel as well. But what's good here is that the economy stays low for 100 Thieves. A good opportunity as FaZe were on a bonus that if they actually take this next round, you're going to see 100 Thieves back on a save. Right, they do have a showstopper ready here with Corey. The idea maybe right now is to take that hookah control again and try to get that showstopper opener into the site. We are also 1 orb away from the ultimate from Hiko, but he's playing it very passively towards his Heaven. So this focus, this concentration towards Long B seems to be paying off. The owl drone to come out right now for FaZe to try to clear out the area. A couple of smokes to retaliate on the Long B as well, but it's a stalemate. The main action now happening towards hookah. Cage is already up from Steel, and it's going to be fairly slow. 1:13 on the clock. Pain shells through the teleporter that came in there from Asuna. That also does not get any information yet. So we're soon seeing a lot of utility being depleted for Steel, and the L drone also comes out. They don't have much left to try to hold this B side. So Steel's going to have to body block, play that contact, but he gets pinged out. There's that showstopper, but under the window and also close towards Shed, they catch FaZe off guard, and 100 Thieves are now in the lead with 2 players or 2 players ahead, rather. And Ruckus jumps out a window, gets the kill onto Hiko, but gets traded out there by Asuna. So they've tied things up on a 2-2 scoreline. And that was a round that he needed here for 100 Thieves. They're still looking comfortable to get a gun round into here, but FaZe are going to be the one on the eco instead. And 100 Thieves has a chance to take the upper hand.
Man, I am sorry. For whatever reason, technical issues precluded me from being able to speak. This technology was like, no, you're done for the day.
I was running out of breath, Ben. That was like my last breath going through. I don't know if chat realized, but I didn't take a single breath in like 3 minutes.
Just too much color and play-by-play. There's a boombot going into the showers that'll spot the position of Baby Bay. We do have ourselves at a tie score 2-2. Unfortunately, missed a few of those early rounds. Had to reboot because software we used to get our video and audio really didn't want to like me anymore. And that's okay. I'm used to chat not liking me, so why shouldn't the software not like me either? You're mean to me, chat!
Still a good comeback here for 100 Thieves, but with FaZe, the wall went up, so they knew that FaZe were on some sort of an eco, right? So preventing FaZe from getting any type of like late control towards showers, that wall already came up from Nitro, and he was also using it as a one-way. And that angle allows him potentially to see above the tower boxes to look towards short. So he's in a, you see he's dancing back and forth where he has a perfect headshot angle for these 2 areas on showers and on short A. But as this wall's about to break, they're going to explode into the A side for FaZe now.
That nade forces the hand of Baby Bay as well to dash in further. What do they do with it? Oh, good God. Hiko with the ult. It just all falls apart. Hiko gets a triple kill with the Hunter's Fury. I don't know if I've personally ever seen more than 2. So an incredible ult coming out from Hiko. Again, the targets were pretty softened up, and they also didn't bring much to the table. Yeah. Now we've got the full buy coming in. Baby Bay also has the ult available. Does opt to go for a purchase, though. Now, we did watch Baby Bay find the ace early on with the ult. But beyond that, we didn't really see much ult activity out of Baby Bay. It was mostly with the rifle and the AWP as well later in that series. Curious to see if he's going to go for the knife pull here. But it looks like he just wants to stick with the rifle.
Yeah, being softer on that hit towards the short A, that split was perfect for Hiko to land those 3 kills with the Hunter's Fury. It's such a tight hallway. To even try to take U control, you're pretty much a mouse trapped in a maze, and you couldn't get to the cheese in the end, unfortunately. And 100 Thieves are looking good now, as they were trying to use that confidence to try to get more early information, but it's Nitro that gets punished early by Marv, unfortunately, and a 1-man advantage already for FaZe to try to take this back control, and they're leaning towards this A side as it's been weakened down.
The scary thing right now for FaZe is if Asuna can warm up and brush off that first map, he is so incredibly good on this map specifically, especially looking at his time playing under Immortals, but here as well with 100 Thieves, he can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Ethan sees that fault line come through, decides to port out of the way. Baby Bay, in the meantime, gets the punish, goes to move up further, somehow able to drop Ethan as well, who is backside of the APC. Sight's lost, and it's a massive advantage currently. You've got Steel on the lurk, but everything's falling apart. And it's the round win for FaZe. They'll even get the spike there at the end to add a little bit of extra on top. So 100 Thieves just couldn't quite hold against that short push. And I don't know if it was Ethan's move across that allowed them to just easily take advantage of the only player playing on site in Asuna. But Ethan couldn't do much after the port either, getting taken down by Baby Bay, who was again on that relentless full-speed assault.
Yeah, when you lose Nitro early like that, right, you don't have the Frost Orbs, and when you're playing an open U-Haul, and you know that they might potentially dash into the side, you need those Frost Orbs towards the short A, trying to slow that down, try to slow down the clearing from FaZe into the A site. But that didn't allow for 100 Thieves to have those 2 players hold together towards the A site. It was just too aggressive for FaZe at the beginning, and man, you hate to see that. You love to see it if you're Marv in a FaZe clan, but for Nitro, had the angle, operator on course, and he actually had the crosshair placement, but Marv went for the walk peek for the kill.
Raucus wants to show that he too can deliver with the ult, but doesn't find any kills similar to the way that Hiko did. And there's Asuna with a quick little jiggle peek onto Marv. Now, in the meantime, you do have Corey, who's lurking his way over onto the B site, where you've still got one playing defense. Ethan drops a smoke that allows him to get into Cubby and just hold the line. The fault line coming out, the boombot's coming straight for Ethan's position. The recon dart's off the money. The explosion, though, is right there in his face, so he's dropped very low on HP. Has to be careful, needs some help. Flying into position is Baby Bay, knows there's one still on site. The save comes in from Hiko to prevent the fatality. The rocket would have gotten a post-mortem, but it still is down to 1 here for FaZe. A 1v2 as the hack comes out. Not going to be able to react in time due to that hack getting tossed out. And it's now down to the one-on-one, and Hiko just goes for it. Full swing from the 31-year-old boomer.
Happy belated birthday, by the way, Hiko. And
yeah,
it's definitely hard on a 1 versus 1, and you have to face against Hiko. It's you're quaking in your boots usually at that point. And I like this time for 100 Thieves was that the utility that was used towards that site, it was on both sides of the default. That allowed for Ethan, yes, he got eaten and got damaged by a boom bot, but it was able to slow down that clock, slow down the aggression from FaZe into the site when you saw that Baby Bay was dashing as trying to make his way in. The difference before was that for 100 Thieves, they had those cyber cages that they had to be used so early into Hookah and also onto Octagon. But now as they time it perfectly with the full hit from FaZe, it allowed for them to get that crosshair placement and the bait and switches and the trades that was necessary for them to regain the lead in this half.
How did that boombot not give away his position?
Yeah.
That was really confusing. There's the ult from Marv, though, into the elbow. Nitro now has to deal with what's coming this direction. You can see the ult being popped by their Omen to send him back behind enemy lines, but you've got Baby Bay now moving into position with the knives out, despite the fact that they had Marv in an advanced position. Doesn't really make too much of a difference as he was taken out quickly by the player still hanging out on site, and Nitro, who's still here, by the way.
Yeah.
Sitting back towards elbow. I love what Baby Bay's trying to do. Dodging some recon darts as well. There's an ult coming out, the Rolling Thunder. As Baby Bay tries to push into position, Asuna dodged the charges. The flashes are still coming out. And now it's down to 1. It's Nitro. The player who originally was playing B-side defense is somehow the last one alive on a B-side take. But FaZe finally able to sniff out his location and come up with a round win.
Even though it looked like Baby Bay got backstabbed and it didn't pay off, he actually was able to get that kill onto Ethan, who got knocked by the Rolling Thunder of Zachary. Just off timing a little bit, or better timing for the person from 100 Thieves that was able to take the left side of the entrance of B side to get that backstab frag without being stunned onto Baby Bay, which made things, of course, a lot more difficult in the end, though, for FaZe to try to hold that site down. Good thing, though, is that they did, just from that sheer aggression and just dancing around the site from FaZe, from Baby Bay. But it looked grim at the beginning for Marv, going for a full from the shadows into elbow, not realizing where Nitro was still lurking around. Nitro could have potentially won that round on his back. He just needed that res to maybe help one of his teammates, but it was dead a little bit too far down towards long B.
Raucus catches one on the backside of mid. Look at this setup right now. There's so many players trying to come in from Hookah for 100 Thieves. As they start to make their way out, they don't really have the greatest of hardware, and that's going to allow them to line some up. Steal with the Bucky, though. Able to find 2 pumps, but not going to get a third out, not going to find a third kill on the round. FaZe is taking control of that scoreboard. It's the first time they've had it since round 3. They lost it in round 4, where things got tied up by 100 Thieves. It's been a back and forth a little bit since then. Raucus currently top of the scoreboard for FaZe. Baby Bay has kind of faded into the background a little bit. Still sitting at 7 and 6 and 5. It's not a bad performance, but compare that to the nearly double-digit, or the 2 FPR he had in the first half on the last map, by the way. I think he had 19 kills after the first half, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so this time you just have to pay attention to how Steel, even though it's like pistol rounds for them as well, that he could definitely use that Bucky into their favor. Did a lot of econ damage with those 2 kills, but overall, second rounds, whenever they lose pistols, there's a potential that something like Steel could use a Bucky and try to turn it over. And when he's playing potential spots like U-shaped hallway like Hookah, you can't discredit him if he has a weaker gun than a Vandal or even a Phantom at this point. But full gun round coming through, as now it was an eco for 100 Thieves. You see Steel, he's holding down towards that U. The camera's going to come up, and he's just waiting for the initial push. But they're reading this correctly so far for 100 Thieves. They have 3 players stacked inside that site. And that camera that spots that owl drone, at least it breaks the trap wire, but Steel's going to be ready for the fight now.
Ult used to get them some space. I might scare the members of 100 Thieves. Corey spots one up on the rafters over towards Heaven. How does that work? Ethan just sticks around a little too long, but it's okay. Backup is here. Support has arrived. And now it's all up to Marv. Spikes down on the site, and that tiny, tiny little head of the Cypher with no hat. So difficult to hit. We're tied up again. 100 Thieves with a strong defensive hold on the A site. And you mentioned Bucky for Steel. Steel has been a player we've seen use shotguns, I think, more than anyone this whole event. And it's just shown how strong the shotguns can be in the right position. Here it's with the Phantom, and he'll get a 3K holding U-Haul and preventing the push from short from being successful.
So you see how he places that cyber cage right there. So popping that up really splits up that defense from FaZe. It allows Steel to just really focus on that short A. Asuna can really just focus on Showers battles, and it was just a perfect hold as Ethan got popped by a showstopper. But this round, we're changing the pace for FaZe. We've already gotten early control inside Hookah. The Hunter's Fury that came out from Rockies was just trying to push the players back from that B site. But it's totally different as that setup here for 100 Thieves. They're, once again, reading it correctly at the beginning, but as there's no initial hit from FaZe into that B site, it's going to get reset. They're going to have to rotate some players back quite soon, but it's just Steel that's supporting Asuna with a camera. And finally, he's rotating back, but he has to come back soon. FaZe is creeping up.
Asuna on site, spots them short. It's going to throw out that nade. That should do some damage, maybe even split apart the push for the moment. But that's allowed Baby Bay to get into this position. Asuna, nice shots coming out. And there's the rocket pull. Oh no! Oh Baby Bay coming down out of the sky. Death from above. Heard that rocket pulled and updrafts immediately. Well played from Baby Bay. Multiple kills on the round for
one enemy remaining.
The Jet here for FaZe. Again, it comes down to one player. This time it's going to be Nitro, who's stuck on the B site with an op, realizing there's more value to the weapon in hand. Has to pick off Corey, who understood that Nitro is trying to hang on to this one, and now the hunt begins.
That's where it gets difficult, right? If you're only playing one player inside the site, the retake play is hard versus a team like FaZe. Sometimes you see teams, they just plant and they play triple U. They play one towards Showers, they play one towards long A. They just want to set up that crossfire and prevent the flanks from the market sign and also from teleporter at Showers. Meanwhile, though, for FaZe, they're always pushing towards that spawn. It's the second time they do this, which now makes it so much more difficult for 100 Thieves to retake the A side. The A side, in my opinion, is one of those sites that's very hard to retake on this map. And when you already have the pipes closed out, the only place it can come in is Heaven. And Heaven, you have so many angles that could be watched from. That's you, that's short A, and that's also from Showers. It's a great play from FaZe to continue to play this aggressively towards these A takes.
A little bit of RNG luck there for the headshot.
Oh yeah.
You can see his crosshair was, the bullets were going everywhere. It's kind of a little bit of luck. But it was a great move to dodge that ult to begin with.
I'll find them.
We still have a full buy coming in from 100 Thieves here to close out the first half. Nitro getting aggressive with the op, eats that fault line, has to be careful, barely escapes. And it looks like a fast play is going to be the name of the game, and Nitro doesn't stand a chance. The flash from Breach made it so difficult. Miss on the knives, though. Goes for the ankles. May have connected, but it doesn't do nearly enough damage. So Hiko is able to survive for the time being. There's the ult being popped from Hiko as well, and we've seen how successful he can be with this one. In the meantime, Marv has snuck out into the cubby and at least grabbed one kill, but look at the damage that's been dealt, largely due to that ult coming in from Hiko. Shock darts coming out long range as well, lands a little high. Recon dart right next to Steel gives away the position. It's relying heavily on Marv. So Marv is able to get back around from elbow and spot out Steel. They hear the owl drone. So it's all down to this. A 2-on-2 to close out the first half. You've got a player inside smoke, goes for the port away, and I love it. Shadow step to get out, and the port to get back to the A site. They're going to go for spike placement across the map. Well played from FaZe. The question is whether or not they'll survive for long enough, as you've already got a player coming up from short.
Planted.
One enemy remaining.
Ethan gets there so fast, and they're just not prepared for it. Now there's a smoke going down as well. Raucus is going to play inside it. Has to time this one perfectly. Does have a recon dart. Doesn't want to give away position. Ethan's got the read. It's an unfortunate round loss. It was a good adaptation from FaZe there at the end, but 100 Thieves keeps things close. It's 6-6 as we get ready to jump into the second half. Pistol round of the utmost importance.
Switching sides.
We're going to throw things to a break, and when we come back, we'll see who's able to find that big early dub. Stay tuned. And we are back, jumping into the second half of a close game between 100 Thieves and FaZe. 100 Thieves has to pick up a win here on Bind to force us into our next map. Van Silly, are you a little bit worried? Or are you feeling confident that 100 Thieves here in the second half is going to really pick up the pace with Asuna now on the attack?
I was never worried. I think we're going to see a third map, but again, if we're going to see this combination of this long B that usually happens with Baby Bay and Zachary on pistol rounds or even gun rounds, that's where, if 100 Thieves are not ready for that, they haven't studied FaZe enough leading into this grand finals. So starting things off, it seems to be the case because Nitro's already all the way back towards Fountain, playing from the spawn sign, and they're actually adding more pressure towards Showers instead. And there you go, that first shot that rang out from Baby Bay, they read that perfectly for 100 Thieves. How did they capitalize on that after? They're just still holding their grounds.
It's no different than what we saw from them on Icebox as well. Heavily aggressive on the defensive side, trying to take the battle to their opponent, not allowing them to set up. And it effectively eliminated Asuna, because in several of those cases, Asuna was the first one to die. Because of the escapability that Baby Bay had, he could get away without really being punished in several of those occasions. There's a flash that comes out over on long, but the recon dart prevents them from being able to peek. And it looks like we will see at least some presence towards B early, but they are playing towards port, so we might see a port play set up with players still positioned over on A site. You've got one in Showers, one other towards Short and Steel and Asuna respectively. It's going to come down to these early duels. How successful are they? And that one works out pretty nicely for them as Ethan gets the execution, point-blank range, and now they're going to peel. So now you're going to see the fallback and go back through the portal to A, but the problem is they lost the players on A, so both players A, Steel and Asuna, who were supposed to pick up the kills, didn't, and now there's a fat paranoia coming into the Showers. Everything is falling apart.
Yeah, the lurk was coming in for a steal, now there's no time. They're going to have to rush out and show themselves in. Now with no time left, it's Zachary that gets the last kill. Unfortunate there for 100 Thieves. Perfect for FaZe at least, though, because with that heavy execution towards that B side, 400 Thieves, they never rotated out for FaZe. So they were ready also for the style of pistol rounds. 400 Thieves expecting this lurk from Steel towards short A, and they capitalize on that pistol.
An unfortunate turn for 100 Thieves. I thought they were just going to go for the early B presence, and if they find the openings, just dedicate to it. But they were sold on what they wanted to do from the start of the round, which was that A-split portal play.
Standing ahead.
Unfortunately, the players on A, who are very important for that setup, Asuna and Steel, both died as they went through the port. So at that point, they were already committed. They had to make up their minds and go for it. Nice shots coming out early from Baby Bay on the Marshall, not the AWP. Nades coming down, doing significant damage, and that's what allows Corey to absolutely punish. And again, we're back to that bully state, but it is just an eco round coming in. FaZe look flawless in the follow-up to the pistol round.
That's when things get scary, right? Baby Bay still holding his confidence true towards that long B, the first pick. Then Corey is also playing aggressively towards Hookah. So that nullifies any type of split that 100 Thieves are trying to do on that pistol round. And of course, as you mentioned here, Mark, it was an eco for 100 Thieves, so they're much easier kills. I mean, it's a one shot that's a 101 to the body from the way Baby Bay shoots it. So you didn't have any shields for 100 Thieves. They wanted to maximize their economy so they could get a full gun round into this round, just because they can get the spike plant on the first pistol. So now they're able to have the full utilities. There's only Austin that's going to be on small shields, and they're trying to play aggressive here towards that Showers. You hit him?
Well, they got control of Showers, but like you said, it cost them a little bit. You've got damage dealt to Asuna, who's now running away,
Yeah, he's got to surrender
looking
it, right?
for Nitro. He needs Nitro to give him that heal to bring him back up. Look how low he is on HP. And there's the heal. So it slows things down and it changes the intended pace. You've also got the armor stripped away for Asuna, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult for him as well. Sitting on just 84 HP after the heal comes through.
Yeah, especially when it's a bonus round for a FaZe. They're still in the Marshal, they're still in the Spectres, so when your duelist has no shields for 100 Thieves and you're trying to satchel charge into B site, for example, then he could get melted out and the crossfire could still be very strong for FaZe. They've already rotated 3 players towards that B side, but for 100 Thieves, they've reset things around. They grab the spike, they're crunching it towards the A side where it's weaker.
Here.
Nitro lining up
30
a
seconds
slow
left.
orb. They're going to be moving in fast. There's the nade coming out. Baby Bay, again with just a Marshal, inflicting serious damage, and that nade slows them down so much. They rely heavily on Corey, but with just an SMG against rifles, it's difficult to do much.
man.
Baby Bay again! The Marshal! Nico not able to react in time to Marv's presence as the trade kill does come through, and now you've got Baby Bay swapping over to the Vandal.
Wow.
That is well held from FaZe. Sure, they surrender the spike plant, but 3 players survive on a bonus.
Yeah, we're going back to like the quarterfinals game style of 100 Thieves, where it seems as though the clock was really their enemy on a couple of rounds when they had to play like retakes or when they had to go for plants. This time, again, this is 2 rounds in the second half. We have less than 15 seconds remaining to try to get and commit into a site. And when you have somebody like Baby Bay that's chipping down the armor, hitting these shots, it allows for the rest to rotate down from the spawn side for FaZe into U-Haul and just melt them close-range battles with the Spectres. So 100 Thieves, the slow pace, they're trying to play a little bit more cautiously, but it's not paying off just because they've wasted a lot of time for trying to get the rekill onto Asuna too.
Take flight.
The default was their demise on that round.
Drone's gonna see one. Nice flash to lead them in, and that's another one of those frustrating starts. Marv wants to go for a port out. No, it's actually the paranoia, but Asuna is right in his face. Nearsightedness not going to affect him. Corey already on the flank, and they have no idea. Corey does whiff a little bit at the beginning there, but it's still down to 1 player remaining. It's Ethan with the Sheriff. Does not have spike. It's been fumbled out into the middle of the site.
Yeah, missed a couple
Good,
of shots,
quick
but he's
flank.
still good for 2. It's good enough.
Yeah. And that's been the name of the game for FaZe on the defense, is playing really fast across the map. So sure, we talked about Baby Bay doing it on the last map, but Corey was doing the same thing. Both players were playing A. Now that they've split those resources, at times putting one of those players on A, with Corey's nades obviously being heavily impactful for a short hold, you've got this potential where you could have a player pushing regardless of what direction you're going.
Exactly. You can rely on each other, right? The push from Corey, a push from Baby Bay. If it doesn't work out, look at this. They're trying to walk into a site, and the angles are perfect for somebody like Raucus or from Marv, and those players are also hitting their shots, which means that you could definitely play that loosened playstyle for Corey and Baby Bay. Be comfortable with it, because you know, just like when 100 Thieves were like on the top of their prime with, for example, Asuna and Dicey in the past, it's like, hey, you guys go kill. If you die, it's okay. We have the boomers that can take care of us, right? Into Hiko, into Steel, into Nitro. Now it's the same thing for FaZe. If Corey and Baby Bay are not letting their shots and not getting these first bloods, Raucus and Marv and Zachary as an anchor player as a breach could still put a huge impact to hold the defender side for FaZe.
Marv again has Asuna's number dialed in. This is something we talked about in that first map, how they basically eliminated Asuna as a threat by consistently charging straight at his position, not allowing him to play his game, forcing him to play theirs. Again, you've got an AWP on long, and the recon dart's going to give away the position. Somehow he's still alive. Hello, Baby Bay.
He's like, screw it. I'm going to try to rifle him down now.
I think his
I
AWP
missed
is
2
broken.
shots. Yeah.
There's the ult coming out from Hiko. Typically on point, does some damage, but can't find the finisher. Marv pushing the smoke on short, has to be careful. There's players right around the corner. Just wants to get into Cubby, but actually wants to take the fight a little bit further, and Ethan is holding, so nice player advantage right now for 100 Thieves as they're in a 5-on-3. You've still got to deal with Baby Bay on the site. Now, did Baby Bay go back and grab the AWP, or is it back on the rifle? That's the question.
Yeah, if I'm looking at it from this overhead view, it seems as though it's
30
going to be
seconds
back in
left.
his hands. There you go. So he's watching it from a nice angle and lands that one onto Nitro.
And that's why that matters. Whether or not we were going to see that cross shot, now he has to be careful as there's players all over the place. He doesn't have tailwind, so he has to
Camera
go
spotted
back
him.
through to get away. He was spotted by the camera, has to remove the dart. Sight's been lost, and they're going to go for a spike placement. Baby Bay has the knives out, though.
Oh my
nice
God.
quick flick coming in from Baby Bay. Wants to get another, and he
no.
does! Baby Bay finds 4 of the last players on 29 HP, fault lined and rocketed. Ethan trying to survive, but can't again. Baby Bay with the knife work.
Holy. And what did I say? They started that plant towards that B site, 400 Thieves with 12 seconds remaining. That allows Baby Bay to just try to keep them disorganized as they're still trying to set up their post plants. So he catches 2 players off guard, goes for the dash and the updraft into the site where it catches even Steel off guard inside the tube, and he himself has made things so easy for FaZe for that retake. Look at this replay.
Oh,
that
that
shot
was
onto
dirty.
Austin was beautiful.
But so was that. Even that last click
Yep.
onto Steel, falling in with low HP. Sure, it's a right click, but incredible work from Baby Bay yet again, who has stolen the pole position on the scoreboard away from his teammates. It was Raucous at one point as Baby Bay was sitting right around the middle. But now, switching over to the defensive side, it's become the Baby Bay show. You can see just how impactful Baby Bay can be. Again, aggressive play. The portal play coming in from Marv, backed by the paranoia.
Wow.
Asuna and Steel didn't stand a chance, and a port to get away as well.
Yeah,
Incredibly
that's
well
amazing.
played.
That's amazing. TV towards spawn, that's just the most frustrating thing for 100 Thieves right now because they don't have an opportunity to trade. Now Raucous gets another kill here, and FaZe is looking great for series point.
Hundred Thieves
One enemy remaining.
struggling against this fast pace played by FaZe in the last 2 maps. Ethan again, the last player standing. There's just too much waiting for him. It'll be 12-6. FaZe is on match and series point and tournament point as they look to put 100 Thieves to rest and find their first big win with this roster. They've had second place finishes. Going back to the JBL Quantum Cup, they were able to take a second place finish, losing to Sentinels in the finals 2-0. And outside of that, they got second in a qualifier.
Yep, never
Like
anything
that.
big.
Yeah, 4th place finish going all the way back to the T1X NSG Showdown. That was a completely different roster. It's not even the same full team, if I'm not mistaken, as they had some different pieces to that one. That was before they officially signed the members you see before you, as they had Def and Psalm playing with that team. So what does 100 Thieves do? They try to go for a fast play towards A. The rocket's been pulled. It might actually work out here against this close target. No, it's actually Baby Bay who was a little further away. Steel's now backside. Marv just to keep his head on a swivel. Takes damage from the back trying to check the other side. And it's a 2-on-3 numbers for 100 Thieves. They hear the player coming through from showers. Ethan's not going to miss that one. It's Raucous in a 1-on-3 to try and close out the series.
Such an important round to win here for 100 Thieves. I mean, it was such a low buy.
Planted.
400 Thieves facing elimination. I think they had maximum like 2 ARs into that.
On target.
Raucous drops into sight, catches Hiko, and suddenly it becomes more manageable. He knows there's a player close, and oh no, not like this. He knows he's got a target right around the corner, but it's Ethan with the swing. Very, very close, as the try from Raucous almost closed it out. But still, look what that does to the money for 100 Thieves. They could not afford to lose that many bodies.
And who better than Ethan, right? To win that 1 versus 1. We questioned him, we questioned 100 Thieves, we questioned the move. We want to know what it's going to look like long term. Even if it looks like a 12-7 scoreline right now for FaZe, a dominating matchup for FaZe in this series, you could see the potential of what Ethan could bring and where 100 Thieves are trusting the long-term process of this build, of this roster. Now it's just how do you adapt right now in this instant versus FaZe because you're facing elimination in 2nd place and to also play Immortals into the Masters next week. So you have to try to claw this back. You have to try to bring it to a 3rd map if you can. And you're looking at how things are looking for 100 Thieves. I don't think they have an answer yet. They're still holding defaults because they know FaZe is on the aggression, on the aggressive move. and it's Rockus that's going to be potentially the first one that's going to find the contact with how Corey is pushed all the way up with him towards Sands too.
Marv, I think he meant to fake that and he botched it. He accidentally poured it out short. Whoops. Mistakes happen. Okay. Nice flash. That allows them to get onto the site. I'm sure Marv can laugh that one off for now, but he might not be laughing similarly if 100 Thieves can claw this one back, especially if they can take it to overtime, find the dub here. If they force things to Ascent, that's when this series gets really interesting, because 100 Thieves, very, very strong on Ascent.
Yeah.
That's not to say that FaZe isn't, but they need to get past this hurdle right now. 5 rounds separate them, and they very easily took that A site off of a bit of a blunder. And there's no retake coming in. It's a full save.
So right now for FaZe is look at their position. If they try to rotate out from showers, Rockus is there to kill. If they want to take TP, you have Corey at the bottom of the scent, off angle, where he can get a couple before he dies, and Baby Bay watching spawn. So they've won so many rounds in a row that they're okay with this to lose a couple of guns, but they want to make it more expensive for 100 Thieves, knowing that they're going to be on a lower buy into the next if they could get a couple of kills here. Oh no. He did not expect that. That's one of those things where that radius of the spike, it barely touches the wall. And I know from that teleportation, you saw it from 100 Thieves, they didn't want to come out. They wanted to save those weapons, so they're hugging the wall when they come out from the teleporter. And I think it was just misplayed slightly by Nitro, where he's going to learn next time that he has to step just a tad in off a plant spot.
You mentioned the potential that Ethan has for this roster and what you see in him. Do you think that Omen is the long-term play, or do you think that there's a better agent that more suits his capability?
Oh, that's actually a good question. I think a lot of people are really liking Nitro on Omen before, so I think if Ethan is able to manage the playstyle that they want to come out with Sage, he could definitely be one of those players for that for sure.
Oh no, they didn't clear this left side with that drone, did they? I think
They're
maybe they spotted it. It's possible, yeah. Now the dart goes into the portal.
No.
That's unfortunate. So Corey's able to dodge the damage, and now he's just going to hunker down and wait for the peek. Little does he know there's a player currently sitting on the other side. The shock dart will open up the doors. That's what allows the nade to go in. No! It's blocked. It's like mini golf, and the windmill just goes around at the perfect point, shutting out his opportunity to get that nade. And now he's calling in for backup. He needs some help. Tries to boom bot out before his help arrives. And that'll be his demise. It's a fun little kind of turn of events over there on A-Long.
Yeah. Still becomes
a still in sight, though.
Yeah, it still becomes a 2v2 on either side of the maps as well. So with losing the healer at the beginning could make things difficult for 100 Thieves, but thankfully for them, how they capitalize on a 4-4, they're still at full HP, but the Rolling Thunder.
Now, they did get that ult orb, but what do they do with it? Hiko has the ult. Probably wants to use that for post-plant. Now he has to use it on the push, realizing they need to get into the site. There's 12 seconds left. They still haven't secured a plant. Zachary just wants to go for the swing, but it's actually Baby Bay to drop him, and now the round is falling apart. It's going to be FaZe who go through as the #1 seed coming out of Challengers 3 with a big win over 100 Thieves.
Congratulations to FaZe Clan.